Yeah, I think obviously the challenge going into that game was where was our heads, what was our mindset, and I told before the game I told our coaches and I told people I was just people from our group that we were talking to what was our mindset, and I really liked it. I didn't see anybody take anybody lightly. I didn't see people looking at records. I just saw us trying to get better, and that's obviously what we've got to do is continue to get better as a team this time of year. So. An overall solid effort. We probably didn't start quite as fast as we would have liked, but once we got going, we played really well. A good overall day for the defense. Statistically, we had a pick six. We had an interception that could have been returned for a touchdown. It was close. Set up another score. Played well, and really came out second half played well. Offensively, they did some things to try and take our running game away early. We had to open up our passing game. Kyle West came in, did a really good job. And then special teams was solid again for us, and as they've done all year. Didn't get a chance to kick any field goals. Had a couple chances, maybe we could have, but the game was a little bit out of hand at that time, and we just chose to to go for it. So overall, a really good night. Just pleased with the effort, and getting ready for a big one this week.
Coach Clark, will you just go into what you know about Eastern Kentucky up to this point, and we'll start with them first.
Sure.
Okay.
I think one of the teams that we looked at coming into the league, as new coaches in January, was Eastern Kentucky. And I think these guys got to hear me talk a lot about last year's game because it was a pretty lopsided contest, and and as a coach, you're always looking for things that motivate your players and get them going, and that was one of those games last year. And this is kind of a team from our standpoint of things that I look for as a coach who is similar to where we want to be. You've got a defensive-minded head coach, so they're going to play good defense. They really get after you. I think all that shows statistically in what they do. But yet it doesn't mean they can't be good offensively, and they are. And we can get into personnel. But, they do a really good job offensively. There are tons and tons of formations. You got a quarterback that can run, throw, do all of the above. They've got big, tall receivers. They're physical. And then their special teams, and this is one of the things we really take a lot of pride in, is they're right there with us. And I think we're one of the tops, if not tops, in the league overall. Where they're right there. It's us and them, and they're ahead of us in certain categories. So I think just from a program standpoint, you've got to be impressed with these guys, how hard they play, which is one of the things we want to talk about, the characteristics of us. This is a team, and they're playing their best football by far, which is scary, So just a really good team, and I think a good program.
How far in your investigations of them, or when you look at how far back in this series do you go when you look at them? Did you just look at last year? Did you look at the last three that they have won? How much?
Yeah, I think we've done some of that research and going back, in the off season we had looked at a couple previous games. I know I had watched the year before's game. I think we were getting ready for UT Martin, and somewhere or another we ended up with that. And that was just a curiosity to always see what Jacksonville looked like. And so I was impressed with them. And those things that I've said, that's something I think that looks like it's been a hallmark of who they are. Which for me, that's about as high a praise as I can give you. If I think you're really sound defensively, you get after it. Yet it doesn't take away from all the other things you do, but I just like that mindset.
As much as you've looked back at it, is there an element that's consistent through the last 3 years that have gotten them over the hump, or has prevented a Jack State team from beating them?
Yeah, the thing we saw last year was, we couldn't, and I just go back to, I start with defense. We could not stop them running the ball. And I think that's where it starts. Even though I'm not going to go as far as to say there's some teams that throw it every down, and sometimes you gotta focus on the pass, but more often than not, we're still going to start with the old school, and that's stop the run. And if you cannot stop the run, it's going to be hard to beat somebody. And that's what happened last year. They ran the ball on us pretty easily. It wasn't, that was one of those that kind of got out of hand pretty quickly, and which can happen. They beat Tennessee State. It was bad. And it really wasn't in doubt at halftime. So we can go back and look at turnovers Tennessee State had that they didn't have against us. Maybe you talk about the quarterback out, but it wasn't a close game. It was never in doubt, and And that, if you just want to get impressed, now watch that game, and they're impressive.
I think maybe other things for me. From what you've seen from them this year, I know they have tons of guys back collectively on their defense, but do they have one or two recognized stars on that side of the ball that you can talk about?
Yeah, I think you start with Brown, the Jack linebacker, who is he's super active. He's a great pass rusher. Their whole front looks like carbon copy. All their interior guys. I mean, you're talking about 6'2", 300, 6'3", 288, 6'1", 298. I mean, they're just like what you want D linemen to look like. And then you got the other end, 6'5", 246. But I think you got them, and then their Mike linebacker, Vance, 6'1", 240. I think he's an all-conference guy. So of course they had about 8 guys listed in the preseason. So kind of a who's who over there of guys. But they look like to me they've kind of found their stride.
And then just what's your ease of mind being able to have all 3 of your quarterbacks available for these next couple of key games that you have?
It's exciting. I think that, it's everything we said in the off season. I think people were trying to look at the negatives of it, and I was looking at the positives. That we had 3 guys that could do different things and all play, and we came out of spring with 2 guys that were kind of co-starters, and Max comes in and gets his chance and does really well. And injuries is just one thing we can't prevent. So thank the Lord we've had these other guys, and boy, they've done a good job. And I think that's why that room is so good. Those guys get along so well. I think they're competitors. They all want to play, yet at the same time they pull for each other, and that's not a bunch of coach talk. I mean, that's what you see. And when they make throws, and they encourage each other at practice. And so, now we've kind of got all our options open to see what happens.
Or is there decisions to be made in that regard down, later on during the week to figure out who the guy's going to be? It could be all 3. I mean,
that's right.
I know you're not going to give it away,
sure.
And I wouldn't expect you to.
That's right.
Just what's the
process? I think we feel like all 3 of them do certain things well.
Right.
And we want to embody the guy that does the most things well, but we're going to have a package for other guys, and then of course it's also who's playing well. But we've got to do the things that, and they don't give you much, but you're looking for the things that we can take advantage of that they do, and you're not. It's not like you got this long list of things that we see, but I think it'll all be who has a good week of practice, and hey, that's what it's all about, is competition.
Okay, some questions for the players. Max has to go to a biology test, so we're going to let him leave right after the main press conference. So if you need Max, let's leave him now.
Have you studied?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel, Max? I know it's been 3 weeks or so since you played. Just go into it a little bit about how you feel physically, mentally.
I feel really good at this point. And, obviously, the first couple weeks didn't feel where I wanted to be, and these last couple weeks I've had the opportunity to kind of sit back and watch the team and really get a feel for the team, how we practice as an offense, and it's been a good couple weeks just to kind of sit back and see how things run, and what we need to work on as an offense, and what we need to do more of and do less of, and it's just been it's been a good process. I'm feeling better every day. So,
is it mobility? Is it okay? I know the first couple of weeks it was slow because of what it was, but how has that progressed for you?
It's progressed pretty good, and right now I'm feeling really well, and every day it's getting better and better.
Is it the first time, educate me a little bit, is this the first time you've had any kind of injury like that that's kept you out of playing for any prolonged period of time?
Yes, sir. I'm not used to being hurt, so this one's hurting me. But yeah, it's tough to sit back and watch. But the other quarterbacks have done a great job. Kyle and Eli stepping up, taking command of the offense.
Is how now, I guess, how fresh are you for this stretch run? I mean, you've had 3 weeks or so to rehab, watch, and all that, but now it's a big stretch of games. How fresh are you for this?
They said, I kind of have my own personal bye weeks, so I'm feeling really fresh for this last 3 games. Important stretch of our season.
When it happened and you knew you'd be down, for a while, was the goal to get back for if you were gonna get back at all, to get back for these particular 2 games? I mean, you wanted to be back by this week because of the importance.
Well, you know, whenever you get hurt, you want to get back as soon as possible, but usually you have a target date set in mind, and this one was, you know, important for me to get back, and you know, this is what they say is our kind of conference opponent. It's not really talked about much, but you know, this is the game you circle and get real excited for. So personally, I was ready. You know, I wanted to. You know, I've always wanted to play, you know, like last Saturday, but you know, going into this game, it's really important that I try to get myself as healthy as possible.
Is it like you're back fresh and ready for the stretch run? Is that the way to categorize your
Yes, sir.
mindset? You guys are in a pretty interesting situation now with your team. You win, you keep the playoff stuff really alive. And earlier this year with the 2 losses, it might have looked iffy. Did you think you could be in this position a couple of weeks ago when you guys were like 1 and 2 in the league, and with the heavy-duty dogs coming up late in the year?
You know, we just take it 1 week at a time, and at first, you know, I didn't know how this, you know, playoff system works and who they get in, who they let in. But, you know, as we've been playing along each week and doing better, they said, oh, playoff chances are looking better and better. So it's exciting going into these last 3 games.
Do you have any specific thoughts of the opportunity that's presented to you now with these next 2 weeks? I mean, how exciting is it to be back in the playoff hunt?
Yeah, it's very exciting. You know, to be the best, you have to beat the best, and we have those 2 coming up next on our schedule, and it's, like I said, it's exciting.